and welcome back to a brand new day of free-to-play here on Magic the Gathering Arena. Get the dish on the latest with me, Lord Rumfish. Today I'm going to be building a budget deck. We're going to walk through the steps quickly of how to build the deck. I'll explain my choices of why, and then we'll play a couple of games. So, the deck I'm going to be building today is a soldier deck. If you've been following along with my channel, I started this in December 22nd of 2022. We're just getting into March, so it's only been a little over 2 months that this account has been active. I also have a primary account aside from this one. So, if you've been following along with me, then you know that I've pretty much earned everything up to this point. You've watched me, talk about the jump in that I played, open the booster packs that I earned, and play some limited. So when I went over white in my crafting guides, my deck building toolbox series, there was a little uncommon soldier that caught my eye. And I've opened a lot of packs of the Brothers' War, which has given me a lot of soldiers. So I'm going to build a soldier deck today. And my idea here is that it's going to be primarily focused into white with a secondary focus into blue. So Benalia Sleeper's not a terrible card, but if you can't do the black kicker cost, it's not really worth it. Yeah, we are going to look at soldiers here. Here's a Phyrexian soldier that fit the bill of being good for a budget deck build. I'm mostly going to just look at cards that I own. However, we can look at not collected here because I have managed to gather up some common and uncommon wild cards again. So if I find a common or uncommon, maybe like Yotian Frontliner, that I want to craft some more of, I can do that. So, Recruitment Officer is just a good one-drop. In addition to being a 2-1 for 1, it gives you a mana sink, something to do late game. Doesn't work that well in multiples, right? Doesn't do anything special in multiples. But it's just nice to have good one-drops to hit in an aggressive deck. Yotian Frontliner, I think, is maybe a stronger card for this deck than the Officer. So it represents a full 2 points of power and toughness as long as you have 2 soldiers on the battlefield. You know, one from itself and one from the pump that it gives, and then you can unearth it for additional value. And as far as closing the game out quickly, I think it does a better job than the Recruitment Officer does. So, if I were going to craft one or the other for more one-drops, I'd probably start with this one. Bladed Ambassador, I'm just going to test this out. It's a 3-1, has the potential to become indestructible once. I don't think it's that good. I'm not going to go out of my way to craft more of it, because it takes mana to activate this to make it indestructible. Paratrooper, I don't, even with the flash and the pump ability, I don't think this is quite good enough. Or if it was a 2-1 instead of a 1-2, then I think maybe it would have some potential for the deck. You could maybe think about one copy of this for the pump effect. Cathar Commando, this is a fantastic card. I talked about it in my white toolbox guide, not just for a soldier deck. There are artifacts and enchantments running around everywhere in Standard right now. Ideally, what you can do with this card is either flash it in, block something, and then sacrifice it to blow something up, or flash it in, attack, sneak some damage through, and then if you need to, blow something up. Let's see. First strike on your turn. Let's see, I've got a Guardian, no reason not to use it. Jawbone Duelist. Okay, I think the double strike on this card is going to be worth it. We're going to get some pump effects into this deck, even though this is a budget build. There's a blue-white uncommon that's going to make the cut into here, I think. Let's see, Vanguard. Well, I've got a few artifacts around. 2/2 Vigilance isn't the worst, but let's see. Reinforcements, probably good here. Yeah, I'll do a Sungold Sentinel, since I've got one. I don't have any Thalia, and I'm very low on rare and mythic wildcards. Love to have some Valiant Veterans for this deck, but we're going to do it on the budget option. Oh, Cavalier makes a soldier. Interesting. Has enlist. Probably not good enough here. Only a soldier on the backside. Probably not. Don't have any brutal Cathars. Not going to be crafting them. Let's see, if I wanted to pay 5 mana for a pump effect, I might go with the little flash flyer instead of this guy. Gavony Dawnguard. This is one of the things I was looking to get to. Unlike Recruitment Officer, these work just fine in multiples. You don't pay any mana to activate it. Just anytime day to night flips, you get that same exact effect. You look at the top 4, reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less, put it in your hand. So, for this budget deck build, definitely looking at the Dawnguard. It is a soldier on both sides, but I just don't think Morning Patrol is quite good enough here. Siege Veteran, got one, we'll use it. Warlord's Elite, this might be interesting in an equipment deck. I don't think it's really that useful here. Four mana. 4 mana is asking a lot. I think I have better things to do with 4 mana. Shield Basher's neat. I think it's mostly for limited play. Probably wouldn't be the worst for standard play. Probably not the worst. I'll think about it. We're probably going to get enough playables here, though. This guy's a soldier, and he's got first strike. It's interesting. This is one of the weird promo rares, right? And you don't open in booster packs. If you have the mastery track unlocked, you'll eventually get 4 copies of this. It's interesting. Myrel. Don't think she'll be necessary here. I mean, she's good, don't get me wrong. But I don't have a lot of mythic wild cards, and I think we can do just fine. Porcelain Zealot's interesting. I mean, I do have the Jawbone Duelist. The pump is not the worst, but I think we can do even better. This makes a pair of soldiers, and you can unearth it. And make another soldier, and can attack with haste. It's interesting. Well, Search Party Captain. Yeah, this could be good. I'll test it out. If you can get it down to, let's say 2 mana. If you can get Search Party Captain down to 2 mana, I think it's quite strong. And ideally, you could swing out and get it down to 1 mana. Okay, I've got some 5-drops that are decent. This one makes soldier creature tokens. So does the Platoon Dispenser. These are... 5 mana is probably more than we're looking at for this deck. I'm kind of picturing 4-drops mostly being the top of the curve here. Something for 5 would really need to be overpowering to catch my eye. And 1 less for each creature you control. That is interesting. You can test it out. Might cut it later. Air Marshal's probably not good enough. Protect the Negotiators. Well, I don't have Thalia. If I don't have Thalia, I can probably run a copy of this. I've seen Zephyr Sentinel do good work in opponents' decks before. Flash, 2/1 flyer. Can return another creature you control to its owner's hand, and if it's a soldier, this gets a +1 counter. Yeah, I think we'll run this. Now, like I said, I opened a lot of Brothers War. Between, you know, whatever cards you get in the starter decks, the jump in, and then the Brothers War packs I opened, I got 4 Skystrike Officers. I'm going to go ahead and run them. They are good cards. They can, all the cards they'll draw you can help you rebuild from things like board sweepers. So between things like Skystrike Officer, Recruitment Officer, Gavony Dawnguard, there's going to be some resilience that this deck has to be able to draw into more creatures. Okay, I've got a copy of Harbin. That's good. I mean, more copies of Harbin would be better, but Harbin is one of the ways that a soldier deck just kind of wins the game from out of nowhere. Yotian Tactician. We're definitely going to run this one. Oh, Fortified Beachhead. Have a copy, might as well. Alright, let's take a look. So Spectrum Sentinel is probably not good against most things you're going to come up against. However, if you're making a best of 3 deck, I would say this is strong tech against Grixis. Right, Blood Tithe Harvester, this can block it all day, can attack past it. Or Corpse Appraiser, blocks it all day, can attack past it. And those decks run a lot of non-basic lands, too. Maybe it would be interesting to try a couple copies and see how they do for us. But I'm running low on slots for the deck here. I may end up having to cut some of these things I've already picked out. Well, I'll add it for now and probably cut it later. Okay. So. It's time to probably find a little bit of interaction, right? Grabbed Protect the Negotiators. This deck is more white than it is blue. So I'm probably looking for white removal. Lay down Arms is a very strong choice. It's hard to beat the mana cost. So, I'll put these in here. We'll trim it back down to 60 in a minute. Runic Shot's not the worst, but what this deck is trying to do is it's trying to close out the game quickly. Runic Shot would help you in a situation where you're racing with the opponent and they have a tapped creature you want to take out. It does not help you carve a path through blockers. And that's what an aggressive deck like this really wants, is wants a way to get through the opponent's blocking creatures. Runic Shot doesn't do that job here. Again, Banishing Slash is a cool card. I like it. I like the art, but it kills tapped creatures. Same problem as before. You need to be able to clear out blockers. Okay, Ossification. This is probably a good one for this deck. It's nice and cheap, so you want to be able to fit it into your curve and be able to get rid of a blocking creature. This does that. You can also take out a Planeswalker. Good look at Soul Partition here. The interesting thing about Soul Partition is you can save your own card with it, as well as get rid of something of the opponent's. I think we'll try it here. It's more of a tempo play, but this is more of a tempo deck. Since this deck is more white than blue, I don't want to rely too heavily on blue spells. So Fading Hope is not necessarily the answer I'm looking for. I think it would be fine if we can hit it on curve and make sure we've got the mana for it, but that doesn't feel like a very sure thing. We could definitely consider a Make Disappear here. It's a strong card, and we are going to have creatures to sack to it if we need. I'm going to try a copy of Geralf here because I like him. I don't necessarily recommend that you do the same, but there's going to be a ton of non-token creatures in this deck, so I'm going to test him out, see how he does. Firmament Sage is a good card, but I think we've got a better one here in Gavony Dawnguard. Right, it has better stats, it has ward, it costs less mana, and the same general effect is that this Dawnguard draws us cards. Firmament Sage is more certain, but I think, and it's not a soldier, I think we have the stronger card here already. I might try out a Mirrorhall Mimic here, might end up cutting it, but I love clone effects, and won't your opponent be surprised if you pull a clone effect out of your deck in your soldier deck? Otawara, if you watched my deck building toolbox series and you saw the one on lands, then you know that I've got these lands. I'm going to include them in this deck, for sure. One of each. I also happen to have a copy of Fortified Beachhead. I might end up cutting the Eater of Virtue here. I think it's a very solid card, though, for an aggressive deck. So you don't need too many lands. Shouldn't need the terrarium. Yeah, this isn't, you know, I go long into the game kind of deck. We're trying to close it out quickly. Not looking at Monument to Perfection. Bankbuster is a good card in general, but when you have a really low curve, when you're trying to build, you know, a true aggro deck, you don't want to go too far into mid-range with it. You want to close out the game. And if you had too many cards like the Bankbuster, then some of your effects like the Recruitment Officer and the Gavony Dawnguard will start whiffing, because you need a high density of creatures for those cards to almost always hit. I think I might try the Celestis here. I might also end up cutting this card. We have some benefit from the day-night cycle with the Gavony Dawnguard, and Celestis is already a pretty good card in general, usually not for an aggro deck, so I might end up cutting this. Okay, let's take a look at land. There's Iganjo, got Otawara. So, for this deck, more so than a lot of decks, I want to make sure that I've got a lot of lands that come into play untapped. If I end up running this Laydown Arms, I want a good density of plains in the mana base. Let's see, Seachrome Coast is going to be a good one for this deck. Comes into play untapped early. Deserted Beach is not quite as good. Comes into play untapped on turn 3 or later. Might end up going with this Beachfront if I keep the Laydown Arms. So, let me start making some cuts here. Not sure about this Spectrum Sentinel. Not sure about this Bladed Ambassador, really. Argivian Phalanx. I would like to test this out. Tactician is good. I don't think Search Party Captain is necessarily such a great card. And being more than 3 mana, it's going to whiff sometimes with these search effects. I don't think the Celestis is that important here. I'll go ahead and drop it. Mirrorhall Mimic. Some of the nicest things to copy are probably going to be like Yotian Tactician, Phalanx, Skystrike Officer, Siege Veteran, Gavony Dawnguard. Obviously not a legendary creature, or something of the opponent's. If they have something powerful enough that I would want to copy it even for my soldier deck. Like Shoulder It or a Titan of Industry or something. I think the Ossification is good. I want to keep the 2 of those. Let's see, there are 32 creatures right now. I could probably afford to cut a few more. Okay, I don't think I need all 4 copies of Laydown Arms. If 1 copy is not doing it, then I don't want to draw the 4th copy. Most of the time it's probably going to be amazing, but once in a while it's not. Jawbone Duelist doesn't feel all that special here. You know, if we give it a power boost, then it's good, but Toxic's not how we're going to win the game, it's just a double striker. Yeah, I don't care that much about this card. Not really. Oh, I suppose I shouldn't run Gerolf. He's not a soldier, he doesn't make soldiers. It's not really an aristocrat's deck. Fine. I guess this Phalanx is maybe not really worth the slot either. It might test out and be fine, but... Okay, looking at 60 cards here. I'll make Gavony Dawnguard the art for this deck. Should I try the Idyllic Beachfront? Can I afford to run tap lands in this deck? If I don't, are 16 white sources going to be good enough? I think I'm going to run this. Sometimes you have to make do when you have a budget deck. I really want a good count of planes for this Laydown Arms to do any real work. I could go with Deserted Beach instead. It would be untapped at least some of the time compared to Idyllic Beachfront, but I think I'd really like Laydown Arms to work. That puts 15 planes into the deck. Alright. Budget soldiers. Okay. I don't see any blue yet, but I'm going to keep it. miracle if we hit our third land, because I just got through a couple of games where it pretty much never happened. There are no 5-drops in this deck. I don't want to go above 24 lands. Let's see. I don't think I care about making this trade. Fine with it. Can flash in the commando. Alright. Using the sleeper on turn 2 is always kind of an awkward use of mana. If they have another sleeper, or maybe like a cut down, then they can do reasonably well with it. I think I'd rather trade hits with them here than block. So definitely have the option of blocking there, but I've got the more aggressive start. I have removal. Trespass. I might ossify that. Get rid of this Otawara. It's fine. Lay down arms on the sleeper. Can't get rid of the shoulder right now. Anyway, let's go ahead and get in there. Soaring.
Consider yourself fortunate, our moment. You deal with this annoyance.
Well, guess there's no reason not to kill the Soaring. Alright, they'll bounce off each other.
Balance may never be restored now.
Vanguard down. And now we can draw a card, or sack the commando, or both. Go ahead and put a stop on the opponent's instep just to remind myself. Don't want to let the opportunity pass me by. Sleeper. He could be a 3/3 Death Toucher. Now he can what? Just Yotian. Draw a card. Oh, another Dawnguard. Ooh, Siege Veteran. Yeah, that's nice. That is nice. Is your last card a cut down? Let's find out. If it is, I can draw some cards. Doesn't seem to be. Okay. Happy to come in with you, happy to trade you off, and I'll trade Vanguard with whatever you got over there. Let's keep pushing the board wider. Oh, we'll take the underdog trade. That's fine. the 1/1. Five soldiers, I could almost draw 2 cards. Okay, bigger. Bigger still. Trying to stop me on the ground here. Draw a card. So I kept the one of Spectrum Sentinel. This isn't the matchup for it, for sure. Okay, I can double spell and flip it from night to day with this Dawnguard in my hand. Let's not give that away yet, though. If they kill this Commando, then I get another soldier token. They're very close to just being dead. Sentinel. And here's the Dawnguard. And I should get a trigger off of it flipping day-night cycle. There's a lot of creatures in the deck. Okay, got it. See, I can draw 3 cards with the Officer this turn. That's a lot. I mean, I think it's basically just time to attack wide. Invoke Despair. It seems like too little too late. I don't have an enchantment or a planeswalker. Oh, I do have an enchantment. Okay. Forgot about the Ossification. This is why I don't like removal effects like that. I only run them when I'm of desperate need, like for this budget deck. I still think they're basically dead, though. They can't be too happy about not trading resources there, and they can't afford to attack me either. I mean, if they block my 2 biggest creatures, I've got 7 damage coming through. Yeah, they're dead. They're just dead. Sanchez. Alright, so upon further review, I need to add these deserted beaches to the deck, though mana is just being too ornery. So, I don't want to do it, but I have to. Okay, up against Hell's Newborn, who's having trouble with the Council. This hand looks keepable. So yeah, no 1-drops, so I can go Beachfront into Seachrome Coast. Let's see, 1 blue mana. They don't have a counterspell yet, so how about I just play this Guardian? Now I have to click through everything awkwardly because it has a activated ability that doesn't cost mana. Alright. Lead with the planes here. Go ahead and swing in. Can't block a spell down. And I'll be mana efficient. Play this Skystrike Officer. Surge Engine. Okay, interesting. They're going in heavy on the unblockable critters. So maybe they don't care about the spell copying and oil counters on this. Maybe they've got more of an unblockable themed deck. Let's see, I think I would be fine trading this Plains for their Surge Engine. I can bring in the Resolute Reinforcements to draw a card from the Skystrike Officer. Still have enough mana to cast Protect the Negotiators, but not to make the Soldier token. Which is fine. Just being able to draw a card with the Skystrike Officer is netting me plenty of advantage there. They don't have much mana. Activating the Surge Engine's gonna be kind of a big deal. Stuck on 2. Still come in with the Spell Dancer. Suppose I could have countered it. Didn't feel very necessary though. Just don't feel that concerned about it. Those just fine. I am just fine with those. Okay. Time to discard a card. I think he'll be the frontliner. I think I'd rather have the planes right now. I can cast this officer and he cast a fully fixed Protect the Negotiators. Draw a card off the officer. Yeah, they're just not finding mana there. their deck was doing. I didn't see much of it. Seems like all unblockable creatures, though. Up against Zarbu. This hand looks alright. I'll keep the planes count high for now for the laydown arms. Flash in the commando. Yikes. Okay, beach. Let's see. I guess I could just play the Dawnguard and have a couple of 3 power guys. Yeah, sure. Here. No tax. Okay, they're rolling to claim the ward. Really taking their turn here. And do not get to draw a card. So, no reason not to get the tap laid out of the way here. Play the Officer. They do not have a cut down that turn at least. Another 2 mana removal spell. Okay, it is another 2 mana removal. Let's see. I've got 3 planes. Might as well use the laydown arms on the game. We'll flash in the reinforcements. Obliterator. It's chunky. Okay, concerned if I did not have Ossification. Like to not draw any more lands. Ooh. Thank goodness. Alright, so when you run this deck, you will probably have a clearer mind than I have tonight, and that means that you'll do quite well with it. I only really got to see the Mirrorhall Mimic once. It copied a Siege Veteran and did just fine. The other thing I've seen clones do good work with is if you have creatures like Annex Sentry or Brutal Cathar. These can be additional copies of those. They can really set back your opponent tempo-wise. Clear your way to victory. It's most soldier decks don't want to get up to 4 drops unless they're like Mirrorhall, but when you're building a budget deck like this, you can pretty much use the cards you've got access to. And I think a one-of Mirrorhall Mimic is perfectly reasonable. There are plenty of good targets of things to copy. A Yotian Tactician would have been fine, for example. So, this deck has basically got the chops to rank you up, even if you don't have a lot of rares and mythics floating around. And sometimes you just have a quest like, you know, cast 40 creatures, attack 40 times, something like that. This will serve you fine. So, until next time. Stay cool.